Hey, welcome to Late Night with Larry. I'm your host, Larry D. I'm here once again with my co-host, Vince. Vince, give him a shout out.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the new improved Larry D Studios. This
right.
is a work in progress for us. We're trying to get better, more entertaining, and we're trying to embrace the technology so we could bring to you better what we experience out in the field.
Right. I want to bring to you, if you're listening, a better listening experience with, good stories, something intriguing that's going to catch you. And if you're watching us on YouTube, we're trying to get our video format right that is attractive to your viewing.
Right. And I was just going to say, we're trying to get some visual aids also.
That's right. We will get some visual aids. But for right now, you could contact us at latenightwithlarry55@gmail.com, and you can also subscribe to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts.
Right. Now, we talked about this earlier. What's the easiest way for them to find us on YouTube? That's our newest platform.
Yeah, so on YouTube, if you do Late Night with Larry, we will come up, but you're going to have to scroll through a lot of late night shows and whatnot. So if you want to pull us up real quick and then click on our channel and you could scroll through the episodes, then just type in capital L, capital N, capital W, capital L, do a space, capital E, P, and then put a space and then put number 1 through 15 or 56 through 59, and it will pop up.
Right. And the thing we like about the YouTube platform is you could leave us comments right away, right there on each episode.
That's right. So, but we're not going to bore you with that anymore. That's just how we want you to listen and get a hold of us. We're going to get into it tonight. So
now, when we first start, we do our we do a shot. We salute. I don't know if my brother wants to do a shot. He has to work tomorrow.
A shot ain't going to hurt me.
Okay.
All right.
Today we're going with the Sheepdog Peanut Butter Whiskey. And a little timestamp. Today is Veterans Day.
That's right.
We're both veterans. And this one is for our fellow veterans. We thank you for your service.
Thank you. It's because of people like you and us who are willing to serve is why you could either bitch about your president or not.
Right. And this is, we've talked about this. We've been to other countries. We've been to socialist countries. We've been to communist countries. And this country is still the best thing going.
It really is. We have our problems.
We do have our problems like everything else, but God bless America. This is a great place to be.
Now, I'm just going to say, let's get it together, people, because we shouldn't have this many problems. Not in this country.
Right. There you go. But I always tell everyone, when I was in the military, I saw a lot of things. And the one thing about our country is we have enough freedom to be as messed up as we want to be.
And that's true. And we take advantage of that. But anyway, to you veterans, happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. Cheers.
Good stuff.
Yep.
All right. Let's get to it.
Okay. Now, what we wanted to talk about today was we recently went to the Jemez. Of course, that's our favorite place to go.
Right.
We love to just R&R. We can't go there without doing some kind of research, but we just go. It could be we'll plan a trip, a camping trip, or we'll plan to go on a small hike and investigate an area, or it could be the spot of the moment. I'll call him and say, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm off today. We'll load up the pickup. We'll load up one. He has hunting dogs, so they're still pretty young. He's still training them, but they're working out pretty well, and they're pretty big dogs too. So
right, they are. They're Chessie's people, but
they're big dogs. But they've been working out great, going out with us.
They are. They're good hunting dogs, and they come from the Chesapeake Bay area.
Right.
But we took one on this adventure, and before we get into it too deep, this one I've taken the one Polo, who's a smaller one. This time I took Marco, who's the bear. And we opened the truck, and he right away darted to the tree line, and he was sniffing around. Well, come to find out that, we're doing drone footage, and we really stumbled across something. You want to tell them what we stumbled across?
Right. Well, let's work up to that. Okay. Now he threw that out there.
We'll come back
because these dogs, like we said, they're hunting dogs, and they're pretty new to us too. So he keyed into something that we didn't.
Right.
Now, we went out there initially. I bought a drone. We wanted to get some drone footage for the podcast on where we could put video. And also, I'm new at the drone, so I needed practice flying. And yes, I did wreck. My drone fell, about 100 feet?
About 100 feet, yeah.
Everything snapped back into place, and great. That's why I say you get what you pay for. I was real happy with the durability. But anyway, we went through the Jemez tunnels. We got some nice footage. We took a cruise. We tried to get off the pavement. We go through the forest roads. Now, there wasn't a lot of campers, but we did see a few in tents. So I'm like, kudos to them, because it is freaking cold even in the day.
It is, and oh my God.
So, yeah, so we made our way up. We go, if you're familiar with the area, there's a lake, Fenton Lake. It's been closed a long time because of the pandemic, but it's finally open. It's good to see some people out there fishing. But we go past it. There's a forest road we take, and it's our usual camping spot. It started off as a camping spot, but I like to think of it as a habituation area, because we go there. We always have some kind of interaction, some kind of noise, something. And I'm hoping that maybe they're getting more and more used to us. That's why they're interacting, making noises, whatever. And hopefully we'll get that visual we want.
Right. And according to some people, it's maybe not so much them getting used to us, that we're going out there enough to where we learn how to relax and how to read our surrounding area, and our vibration changes, because supposedly people say it's your bodily vibration, because we vibrate at 48.6 hertz or something like that.
It depends on what kind of videos I've been watching.
Right. Well, I'm going to agree with him there, because some vibrations are better than others.
But they say the Sasquatch can tune in on you, what your intentions, and the more we go out there, the more, I guess, we become one with nature, because we love it. We love it.
That's what they say, getting in tune with nature.
And sometimes it's hard, because I'm not going to lie, it is scary out there, especially at night.
Hey, like I've said in our other episodes, I'm a grown man, but when you're in the middle of a forest and you have nothing but maybe, if you're lucky, the starlight and the moonlight out, and if there's cloud coverage, it's pitch dark. Yeah.
Now, to get back to where I was, we went back to our usual spot. We tried to get some drone footage, and I'm not good enough where I could fly. The range for the remote, they said it's over a mile, but I still need to keep the drone within visual range of me. I'm not that good to fly just off the screen. So we took some video. We went up, there's a mesa. Now, it's hard to tell from the footage because, up in the air, everything looks flat. But we do go up a little hill that you cannot see, the top of from where we are. And there's a game trail, and we've seen stuff up there like tree snaps and stuff in the past. Now, we went up there and we took some footage. The dog's running around. The dog is running around checking things out. But my brother has his camera. He's taking pictures. I'm trying to get some aerial video. And I don't know why, I landed my drone and I looked down and we stumbled on prints. Now, we had been walking on them and stuff, but the dog knew they were there all along, because that's what he keyed into. That's what he said earlier in the podcast when the dog ran to the base of the mountain. And the tracks were up there. I don't know where they started, but they were up there and they came down to like where we were camping. And that's what the dog ran to. Right when he got off the truck, he ran to those prints.
Yes, he did.
But we didn't go look to see what he was investigating.
Yeah, no, we didn't pay it no mind until we stumbled across it. And that's why I said, coming out now to think, when he got out of the truck, he made a beeline for that tree line. And that's where we saw it coming down. It came down out of the tree line, walked over to where my brother had his encounter. Mm-hmm. They turned around and then came back and they disappeared.
Right. Now, if he puts the prints up, it looks like the stride is really short, but it's not. In most of them, they went somewhere, they turned around, and like I told him, it went right to the spot where the one who stood there the whole time when I had my encounter stood.
Right.
And they turned around, and they took almost exactly the same trail. So there's a set going one way and a set coming the other way. and it just looks like small strides, but it's not. It's actually 2 paths going back and forth.
It is. But I mean, if these are creatures of the forest, which we know they are, and they're the king of the forest, then we know, just like other animals, they roam, and as they roam, they mark territory. So, although they're wild animals, and like a mountain lion will have miles and miles of terrain it covers every day, because that's its territory, and that's where it hunts. So he's seen them at a certain time, or had his encounter. Who's to say this was the time they were in this area? So they hit their old stomping grounds, just like any other predator does.
Right.
And that's just my theory, but it's a pretty damn good theory, because other animals do it.
Right. Now, what I really like about our spot is we've seen the game trail. Now, we've seen other things up there. There's right next to the game trail, they had some saplings that were snapped at the top, all like somebody walking down, but they were snapped up pretty high.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I couldn't snap them up that high. I'd have to bring them down or something. But it was just interesting. That whole area is interesting, and I think we're on to something there, because that game trail goes right to the lake. Now, there's a lot of water sources in the Jemez, but the lake, you have people discarding fish guts, and like now, I don't believe there's overnight camping at the lake.
I don't.
I believe
so.
it's day use only, so they could go there in the evening and have their fill of scraps or whatever.
Yeah, they really could. I mean, let's say the fishermen, I mean, and they should be, because there's no one fishing. So I imagine the fish population is pretty decent.
Yeah.
So if you're pulling something out and you're cleaning it there at the lake, there's still going to be a handful of snacks for,
Right.
a creature that may need protein like that.
And I know it's not right, but some people, they catch and they don't want to eat it. They just go for the sport, so they leave it on the bank or whatever.
And that's not right.
It's not right, but the wildlife eats. So
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a total waste all the time.
It's not a loss. Someone will eat it. Yeah.
But anyway, getting back to the prints we saw. Now we're pretty excited because, man, we've done our research on everything that we could find Bigfoot, really.
Right.
And it matched up to what everyone says. The prints were almost in a straight line.
Almost.
How they say, because the way the Squatch walks, they swing their hips. So instead of like a person's, their footprints would be staggered, maybe a couple feet apart, shoulder width, really. The Sasquatch are different. They're almost in a straight line. And these were like that. And some of them you could even see in the middle, like a mid-tarsal break where the foot pushed off. We seen one of them in the mud. It looked like toe prints.
Right.
But it's hard. Now, we try to approach this, what's the word I'm looking for? Skeptically. We want to debunk it before we believe it. So we look for, maybe it was a bear, but I don't see it being a bear, because you would have seen single paw prints here and there, and just those toes, the way they were perfectly big prints.
They were. I mean, and that's what I'm talking about. The footprint had to be big before the snow started even melting, because of the way it melted.
Right.
But there again, I did think, well, could these be bear? But the way the bear does it, 1 foot and then the other one on just right behind it, it wouldn't have made a shape like a foot. I mean, yes, some people say it will, but I think the ground was soft enough because it was wet. We would have saw the claws moving in, and the behind the next step, you would have probably saw not great detail, but there would have been some indication that that's a bear, because the claws and claws.
There would have been another set of claws in the middle of the footprint.
Yes.
And with a bear, not every print would be perfect like that. Like I said, you'd have the occasional lone paw print where the bear maybe stopped and was looking around.
Right, and the size of these, they were consistent. All the way through.
Yeah. Now we mentioned there was 2 sets, and if you do your research on the Jemez, even going back to the TV show Finding Bigfoot, there has been a sighting. Well, there was a sighting some years ago, 2 juvenile twin Sasquatches crossing the road, and we know where the area is. We've seen it. Now, a forest ranger told his son point blank, there's a brother and sister that live there.
Right. They said they're twins and they roamed the mountains.
Right.
And now this was okay. It was I want to say 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago.
Right. But by the size of these prints, they're not juveniles anymore.
No, they're adults now.
Yeah. But that just falls into every story you hear about the Jemez, about the twins.
Right.
Two of them traveling together. And that night I had my encounter. There was two of them. And just by the tones of their voices and their screams, I'm guessing one was female, one was male.
Right. And if you listen to the Sierra sounds, and we've done that in one of our episodes, I believe episode 76 or 56, revisiting Sierra sounds, listen to those sounds, and these are what the males sound like. And I'm sure the high-pitched ones in there are the females, because from what everyone that has a good, credible encounter, so they say, and sees a couple, say they see them as male and female. Now I'm going to go back to someone who has made this topic very popular. His name's Wes, and he's the host of Sasquatch Chronicles. Mm-hmm. And I watched him and his brother, their encounter, which is portrayed on These Woods Are Haunted, and I've heard him tell it. So their encounter did have a male and female involved, and clear as day he identified them. And when he tells it, the male was the alpha in the road, blocking the road while they were getting terrified by this creature.
Right.
And shortly after, the smaller one, which he assumed was the female, came out, and they stood there and tormented him for a time being, and then they left, and then Wes and his brother drove out. But that just goes to show you that these creatures don't travel alone. Even though you may see one alone, eventually there's more around.
Well, I was going to say, you don't know what's behind the tree line. Now, we'll go back to the Patterson-Gimlin film. That one was clearly a female.
Clearly.
Now, these people, well, not a lot of them, but some of them will come forward and say, yeah, that one was definitely a male.
Yeah, they will. They're like, I saw the anatomy. It was a male.
Yeah, and with the females, they see the breasts, and usually associated with females will be young.
Right. But, I mean, you don't know until you see one, and that's what we keep going to the Jemez for.
Right.
But these footprints were impressive, at least to me. I mean,
they were, and we were pretty excited when we looked down.
Yeah, they're credible to me. I mean, I looked at them and I'm like, I'm going to put my belief behind them, just because of when you really look at them, it's like, yeah, this could be.
Yep, and like I said, we tried to debunk them first.
Right.
Maybe they were this, maybe they were that, and we just couldn't.
Because the worst thing to do is tell you guys something, and then you give us a total rational explanation that makes us look like.
Right. Now, we don't want to come across like... Right. It's sad to say, but in the Bigfoot community, Sasquatch community, there's a lot of
experts.
Crackpots.
Right. Yeah.
We won't revisit the chokeweed and stuff.
No.
But anyway, there is a lot of ones you think, wow, what are they on?
Right. Well, and then you have the ones that really have convincing stories that you're like, how could this not be true?
Right.
I mean, this guy is not looking for fame and fortune.
But the sad part is, the ones who are crackpots, they kind of ruin the credibility for the real ones.
They do.
Just like the Paul Freeman, what I thought was one of the best footage ever.
Right.
Well, right up with Patterson-Gimlin. I thought it was great. But, you always have naysayers.
Yeah.
And that's why we try to comb through what we find. We try not to get too excited, get ahead of ourselves. We try to rationalize.
Well, and my thing is, now that we got video, if we could video it, I want you to see it as well.
Right.
And that's why I put it in I put a little clip of it in our last YouTube video. And I mean, I want you to stop that video, blow it up if you can, and look for yourself. I mean, you may see something we don't, but hey, that's how we're going to find this creature.
Right.
Together, people.
Right. And like I said, we're still learning. We've done a lot of research. We've done a lot of field research. We've had our own experiences.
Right.
But I don't know. I don't think there is really an expert on Bigfoot. There's a lot of people who done their research. Maybe they they think they know a lot,
Right.
but we don't know. We don't know right now. Everything is pretty much theory.
It is, and you know, like we keep saying, we want to have that experience. Now, I tried running through the forest naked, carrying jack links, and screaming I'm messing with Sasquatch. I didn't get no response.
Well, you only ran 5 feet, then you ate them.
Oh, was that what it was?
Yeah, so I didn't even make it out of the truck. So
Okay, I was wondering why. I said I took my clothes off and ran with these, and I didn't even get cold. So,
but for some reason, I heard giggling from the forest.
we'll just keep that a secret between
Okay.
me and the forest.
But anyway, our trip, you know what? I don't think we haven't had any disappointing trips up there. Now we had
I have
one.
not.
We had one. We lost focus. Okay, there was some drinking going on and stuff.
Well,
We lost focus. So, but that was different. But other than that, we've had some great experiences, and
we have.
man, it's just, I don't know. I think it's a hot spot.
I just think it's a good spot. For one, I think it's always going to be a good spot because the lake is right there. I mean, and you know, everyone knows that all creatures, if there's a lake around, they eventually make their way down to that lake.
Right.
I mean, like we talked about, there's plenty of watering holes. There's streams, little streams constantly running throughout the Jemez, but ain't nothing like going to the lake, and all creatures make their trip there.
And now, what we need to do after a fresh snowfall, something we haven't done before, is go investigate by the lake.
Right. Yeah, we haven't done that. And we could start at one end and walk all the way around it, looking for prints.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
Yep. See, we're learning. We're learning.
Yep.
Now, if you out there, I know some of our listeners, they do their own research. Give us some tips. What do you do? What do you think we're doing wrong, or what do you think we can improve on?
And let me know if you think running naked through the forest with jack links was a good idea.
Yeah, you know, I ran naked through the city one time, and that didn't end well.
No,
But thanks for bailing me out. I appreciate that.
No problem. I think the city and the forest, well, I hope it's a little different. Who knows, maybe mid-July when there's campers, maybe you'll have to bail me out.
I don't know. You might get snagged up by one of them hippie chicks.
Well, either that, or the ranger's gonna take me to jail, boo-boo.
Because you stole the picnic basket.
Mr. Ranger, I was just running around in my birthday suit, because that's how I live.
But it's not your birthday, Yogi.
Don't give him any ideas, boo-boo.
But anyway, we just wanted to share what we found, because when we eventually looked down, we were up there a good hour or so before we even looked down.
We were, and I can't believe. I should have went and seen, because my dog, the way it was clearly sniffing out a trail, and I'm thinking, what's this dog? Get over here. I should have really went and seen what he was doing. I would have stumbled upon those earlier, and maybe we wouldn't have walked on them.
Right, it would have been right when we got there.
Yep.
Because like you said, he made a beeline straight for those tracks.
He came out of the truck, and he's like, what is that?
And, well, that's what they do, though. They pick up those scents.
That is what they do, and it's in their blood.
Yeah, now, the last time he mentioned we took his other dog, and that was quite interesting because we stood there till it got dark.
You did.
And his dog was picking up some stuff because he was sitting right next to you, and he was just growling.
It was growling away. Yeah, he definitely sensed something. He was telling me there's something out there, and I don't know what it is. Well, maybe he does, because he could see in that dark, but I can't.
Right.
And maybe that was his way of telling me, hey, let's get out of here.
So we did. We exit stage left, as they say.
We did. And, we're going to keep going up there. Which dog goes, that's all contingent. But we won't stop. We'll always go up there and look for him.
Right. Like we said, we seek the truth.
That's right. Anyway, that's what we wanted to share with you tonight. Thanks for listening, and thanks for joining us on our little memory walk through the last Jemez trip.
Right. Thank you for being with us for our journey, because that's what this is. This is a journey. There's no end game. There's nothing. If we have a sighting, that's just going to make us want to have another.
That's right. It's like women that have babies. once they have one. Some want another, some don't. That's the same as a Bigfoot sighting is.
True. That's very true.
That's how it is. Anyway, thanks for listening, folks. We'll bring you some more good content shortly in a few days for next week.
Right. Peace out. Be good humans.
Peace.